It's Friday at 4 o'clock. What's up, guys? I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't write on my wobbly table while I'm trying to live stream. Happy Friday, everybody. Assuming Fridays are happy for y'all. It's been a while since I've known a life where, like, the days matter. Like, for the longest time, they all just blended together. I was working every single day. Didn't matter. Hello, everybody. So today, I sort of compiled some news items. Actually, there's not much now that I look at it. I just kind of wanted to talk about the state of Disney today, mostly here in the States, Walt Disney World and Disneyland. And we can talk about Universal. I was just reading Tony's comment. Tony said Universal Studios had a film crew with a red carpet outside the gates today filming. Does this mean they are reopening soon? Well, I mean, maybe, I don't know. No, not necessarily. They could be filming that for any number of reasons. I mean, logically, a film crew doing something like that would be to, make some kind of video about the park reopening. But that doesn't necessarily mean that could be for months from now, the opening. It may be for them to reopen, but we don't know when yet. I don't think there's any doubt, right? There's no doubt that the parks are going to reopen. I don't think that's really a question. It's a question of when. So do you believe that them filming now means soon? I don't know. It doesn't have to. They could sit on that. They could sit on that film, that whatever video they make, for months if they want to. Just like studios are making movies right now with no I don't know why that topic still cracks me up. They're out there spending money, making movies with no real idea if they can even exhibit those movies or when. Hope and good intentions. Barring Gaffner, do theme parks have a choice? Isn't it a government mandate? Yes, that's correct. It is a government mandate. Theme parks don't have a choice, which is why I keep wondering why folks sometimes say, why doesn't Disneyland do this? Why doesn't Disneyland do that? Well, because they can't. Disneyland's been ready to open for months, since July. But they can't do it. The state won't let them. Anyway, there's a couple of news items that have come across the timeline here that we can discuss that can open up a larger conversation about when, how, or if, again, that the park should open. Barring Gaffner, I am working on video effects of a future blockbuster movie from home as we speak. Yeah, studios are expecting things to return to normal next year. But they're that's what I'm talking about. They're spending all this money. I guess what else are they going to do? But eventually you're going to run out of money to make movies, right? And then what happens if things don't go the weird way? If you're making a blockbuster right now is just crazy, in my opinion. Crazy. All right. So one of the things that people mentioned last Wednesday, and people have been asking me to talk about, and I was going to do a video on Fresh Baked proper, but I've been so busy that I haven't been able to put in, a cohesive news segment down. So I thought I would do it here. There was this notice that went out to everybody that the state of California was looking into how you can, open up theme parks again. And that's all the item said. This is from the OC Register, that the people were getting together to talk. And, one of the first things that I said at the time was to temper your expectations about what that possibly means. In the same way, I would ask you to temper your expectations about what it means that there's a film crew out in front of Universal Studios. First and foremost, they can put a group together to talk about when or how they can open theme parks again, but that conversation could amount to never. It could amount to, we'll wait till February of 2021. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're planning for a now. It's 50-50. It could go either way. It could go that they are planning now or for soon, or that they're all agreeing that now is not the right time. And it all comes down to cases and how they view the science. Let's see. David Paredes says, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thank you, David. Normally I try to stay on topic, but that's very helpful. Guys, if you are not subscribed to Fresh Baked Presents and you don't have your notifications on, you can't know for sure when we're coming on and when we're doing a live stream. Likewise, go to our main channel, Fresh Baked, to catch our trip reports or whatever. You know what I'm working on? The video I'm working on right now at Fresh Baked, I'm hoping this works out. First, I've got a video of us having dinner at Jazz Kitchen last night. It was fantastic. We had a great night. But then I'm also working on I'm going to take some footage from 4 years ago and just look back and kind of this is how the park looked in August of 2016 kind of thing. I don't know if I'm going to do any kind of voiceover. It's probably not. But just to sort of kind of just do an old-fashioned trip report, but from 4 years ago. I thought that would be fun. Yes, small menu at Jazz Kitchen. And then also, while I'm on this topic, you can follow Liz and I, my wife, and I. We have a personal vlog, Royal Dorks. All the links are in the main channel page. You can go just, click the little Fresh Baked Presents icon and take you to the home page, and you'll see Fresh Baked and Royal Dorks. Okay. So, again, I would caution you to get too excited about a group of people getting together for the state of California to discuss the reopening of theme parks, because it doesn't necessarily mean that they are going to reopen the theme parks. It's just, there was so little meat on that bone that we can't infer anything. We want to. I do. I want to go to Disneyland really bad. I'm getting sick of watching Walt Disney World be open and we can't go to the park, man. I'm getting sick of it. But if you watch the stats were up, and then down, but now they're kind of going back up again. So I had reason to be optimistic, and then I kind of lost that optimism. But I don't know. I just get the feeling like at some point people are going to have to say, "Oh, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about." They're looking at the stats in Florida, at Orlando, and they were able to conclusively say, I think, if this is the article that if I'm understanding the article correctly, I should say, that I read, that there have been no outbreaks linked to Disney World. That actually the Orlando stats are pretty steady. If anything, they're going down. And then even better in relation to I don't know if it's better. Florida's stats as a whole have at times looked like they're going up, but that's counties outside of Disney World. That's counties, not Orlando. Now, people from other counties obviously can drive into Orlando and then take that thing back home with them and do it there. But it's something to be said that so far, it doesn't look like Walt Disney World being open has had any sort of measurable impact on COVID cases in Florida, which is, that's fantastic news. And it's something that I've personally been saying for the longest time, that if anything, I feel safer at Disney World or in a theme park or at downtown Disney than I do in other places because of the guidelines that are in place at Disney World and at downtown Disney. There's nobody walking around in those places without a face mask on. Everybody's got a face mask on. Everybody's practicing social distancing. Everybody's sanitizing their hands, pretty much. Whereas outside in the general pop, people, it's just the Wild West. People are doing whatever, and you don't know, right? You don't know, and it's just it's more. You look at the bubble, the NBA bubble, compared to what's happening in Major League Baseball. There you go. You give people, rules and enforce them, then it's more likely that you're going to have fewer cases. Okay, let me see if there is. I don't think that Disney World is doing tracing. No, as a matter of fact, they're not even testing their cast members. So there's that. Barring Gaffner again said, that's good to hear. Aligns with what the science has said about outdoor experiences. Yes, that it's closed environments that are more likely. We keep saying this. I don't know why we have to keep doing this, but let's see. Marty Snyder, well, they're not contract tracing, or contact tracing, I'm sure you meant to say. So that's actually impossible to know. You would think so. But I mean, like I said, this is just the article I read. Somebody had come to the conclusion, so maybe they are doing it. I don't know, but they had come to the scientific, I'm sure, some kind of science being used there. I hope that's just some guy. Hey, we're good. We're gonna write this down and put it out there, and we're good. Hopefully, that's not what's happening. But they said they weren't able to say that any kind of outbreak was due to what's happening at Disney World. Gordon, did I see the tweet? I don't know if I saw the tweet you sent me, Gordon. I don't know. What tweet? Lucas Ham, outdoor transmission is incredibly low. Yep. Willow Beam, I heard Disney and Anaheim are talking about when they can open back up. Heard from who? Is it the same thing that I've been talking about from the OC Register? Because that's not what was happening. But if you got a different story, I would like to hear that. Let's see. Well, I did. Yes, Gordon was talking about the cast member who was killed the other day. I heard about this. Yes, I followed the story quite closely. We talked about it a little bit on the live stream last night. It's a tragic story, especially when you consider the story of the driver. Oh. It really messed up Liz too, because of the baby. But onward, right? Okay, so Walt Disney World. I mean, by all appearances, they're doing well, which gives us hope that, because the question that I would have for whomever is making the decision in California or any other states where theme parks are still closed, the question that I would have is, are humans somehow different in Florida than they are in California? Or should I say, are humans somehow different in California than they are in other states? Because as far as I know, humans are humans. For the most part, in the broad spectrum of things, humans are humans. So why it's different in Florida and California, I can't get my head around that. I really can't. I can't get my head around why it's okay in one place but not in the other. And that even means here in California too, where, like, for example, it's okay to do taste of nuts. Disnature says some behave differently. Yes, but I'm telling you, behavior. Well, I guess you could say our behavior isn't worse than Florida's behavior. I would not agree to that. I would not agree to that. I would think that if anything, California is more progressive than Florida on the spectrum of things like that, and that they would be more likely, Californians, to wear masks and sanitize and do all that. So while Californians and Florida and Floridians are different in their personalities, I don't think that one is any more contagious than the other. Is what I'm saying. That somehow Floridians are less likely to transmit the disease or the virus than Californians. So. Regina Layton says, I trust Disney. I don't trust Florida, nor a 6-hour flight to get there. As for Disneyland, I think I trust California and a 2-hour flight enough to risk it when DLR finally opens. That's the thing. I don't know, man. Okay, I don't want to get into that. I want to talk about the news. So there's that. There's the Walt Disney World situation where things are moving nicely. The numbers are decreasing. And when somebody mentioned how there are more cases in California than there are in Florida because there's more residents, and that is definitely true. However, what I'm looking at is the graph. All right, so one's going up and the other one's going down. That's what I'm getting at. You can tell me that there's a proportional thing, but if that were the case, they would both be going in the same direction. If somehow things were the same or different, I should say. Anyway, it just looks to me like I just don't understand. Florida's cooking the books. I've heard it both ways, Gaffner. I've heard it both ways, that they were making them artificially high and artificially low. Everybody's lying to you. So that's my assumption. My assumption is that I don't trust anything, perhaps. I go to the CDC. Okay. Back in Disneyland, I think it was, yes, Walt Disney World did reduce hours in all the parks, I think. I think all of them. And that's because there's attendance is still low. People aren't showing up. People are afraid. I heard a 75%. I don't know if I remember or trust that number, but somebody said there was a poll was done that suggested that up to 75% of potential theme park visitors are choosing not to go. They're just choosing not to, whether or not the parks are open. Even if the parks are open, they're choosing not to go. So that's automatically is limiting, the pool of people. That actually does align with what kind of attendance we're seeing in the parks, where they are, keeping it, capacity or they're trying to keep capacity at 20-25%. But they didn't factor in that a bunch of people would choose not to go, whether or not Disney opened. Right. Paul Hansen says hours reduced due to attendance, not pandemic. Exactly. It was because people aren't showing up. People are just choosing not to go. That's something that I wasn't expecting, at least not to the degree that we've been seeing it. I was not expecting that many people to just choose not to go. And apparently, Disney they're talking about, allowing people to cancel their APs, and you had to call some, hotline to do so. And so many people called that the line, it took hours to process a phone call while on hold to do this. So there's a significant percentage of people who are opting out of theme parks. Okay, so back at Disneyland, I think it was last week, they said, okay, we're going to cancel all reservations and not let anybody make a reservation until September 1st. And that, for whatever reason, people think that that's news in the sense that that means something. And I would say at the time, that doesn't mean anything. They can extend it next week, and they did. Now it's at September 5th. So no reservations at Disneyland, no ticket sales. Well, the ticket sales are frozen, period. No hotel reservations until September 5th. No restaurants and whatever. And everything else before then has been canceled. Now, again, that doesn't mean anything other than we're not going to open before September 5th. That's the only thing it means is the park is definitely closed until at least September 5th. Would I go the first day they open? You bet I would, assuming I can get in, because they're probably going to do a reservation. But yes, I would absolutely go. Yes. Yeah, Regina, they're pushing things back a week at a time. That's pretty much been standard since, I don't know, May or whenever it was. Lucas Ham says, people will buy APs when they reopen. Well, is that what's happening at Walt Disney World? I don't think you can even buy an AP right now, right? But certainly people are canceling. Yeah, Marty Snyder says it's because they need 3 weeks to recall CMs. Yeah, as soon as we get a date from the state, I would think maybe even 4 weeks is more likely. As soon as we get a date from the state, it'll take 4 months or 4 weeks before Disneyland can reopen. I'm gonna close that up there. Okay. Adam Reed says, I think I feel comfortable going and walking around the park, but riding rides and touching stuff still feels a little weird. Okay. Look, everybody has their own, limits. I have my limits when I go out to the store and stuff like that, but sometimes you just do what you got to do. I'm not afraid of touching things because I've got a sanitizer, with me at all times. And I can sanitize my hands whenever I feel like I need to, or I can go to the bathroom and wash my hands. I'm not afraid of touching things. I mean, I still try not to. I'm not a touchy guy, in general, but I'm not afraid of it. If I happen to touch things, if I need to touch things in order to get around, opening doors, using handrails, things of that nature, I mean, I do what I got to do. I'm certainly less paranoid about that than I was when I first, when this whole thing first started. When I went to Starbucks, I used to wipe down the cup with a wipe before I drank from the cup. Because, I didn't want to obviously get anything because they touched the cup. By the way, don't do this. Baristas out there, people who work at Starbucks and at Dunkin' Donuts and stuff, don't do this. Don't pick it up like that. Hand it to me like that. Can you do that? Don't do this. This is bad. Okay? This is really, really bad. Okay, so questions. Let's see. Why? Gordon Farmer says, why don't they just say we were closed till next year? It would solve everything. Because they don't want to be closed until next year. Disney wants to be open. They want to. If they some parks have said that, but those are seasonal parks. Cedar Fair closed most of their parks until New Year because people were going to come during the winter season anyway. So, yeah, I think they won't do it because they want to be open. Let's see. Regina says, anyone else find their memories of Disney are skewed now? No, but I've got volumes of footage that I look at constantly, so it doesn't. I don't get that. But what I do is look at how crowded things are and how close we all were, and I get a little. I cannot believe we lived like that before. Okay. All right. So what else? Oh, did you guys hear? Movie theaters. AMC has announced that they're going to start opening up their theaters on August 20th. And that's really exciting, unless you live in California. Womp womp. I looked at all the theaters in California because they have a whole thing, every theater, and it says when they might reopen. And then for California, on the AMC website, for California, it lists the theater, and it says next to it when the state of California says we can. And you just scroll through all the different when the state of California says we can. Ugh. Ay, ay, ay. It's like, I don't know what. Why is it different to see a movie in Florida than it is to see a movie in California? I don't want to blame our governor because, that's too easy. It's too easy to have that debate. I just want to know why. I want to know give me a reason. That's all. If it's correct, then it's correct. I just want to know why. Make it make sense to me. Are the other states doing it wrong? Are they all the foolish ones? I don't know. I don't know, because some people think so, right? There are a lot of folks who aren't very happy with DeSantis, or that's the only governor I know, or the governors in Ohio, and because they're not. Ohio's having some issues, so I don't know. I just want somebody who doesn't have an axe to grind can tell me some truth. Why can't we get some truth up in here? Anyway, I'm getting political now. I'm going to stop that. Movie theaters, that's a good sign, as it pertains to our previous conversation about film studios going out there and making movies. So they're going to start rolling theaters open on August 20th, and then they're going to keep adding more and more and more as things go. Would you, if a movie theater opened near you, would you go to the movies right now on August 20th? No. Nope. There's a yes. Nope. I'm telling you what, the reason why, and somebody said it, why do you think all those folks are saying no, whereas they would be saying yes if Disneyland opened? Matter of fact, let's do that. So I would say this looks to me, there's no science on this, but I'm seeing probably 80% knows that they wouldn't go to a movie theater right now if it opened. Now, let's reset that. If Disneyland opened tomorrow, would you go? So there's a bunch of yeses, right? Yes, no, yes. It's almost a flip. This feels like, what's that ratio? I don't know, maybe 70-30, 60-40 in favor of. So there is the argument that movie theaters exist indoors, whereas Disneyland is mostly outdoors. I'll give you that. And that may account for some of the difference. But really, it comes down to how are you able to consume that experience? How are you able to consume a movie versus how you're able to consume Disneyland? Going to the theater going experience is great. No doubt about it. I love going to the movie theaters and seeing the big screen, having popcorn, to put my arm around my girl, and having that shared experience with other people in the theater. Watching a movie theater or watching a movie in an empty theater is by far less interesting than watching a movie in a full theater. But for the most part, you are able to have the same experience at home. You can do it at home. You can watch the movie and still enjoy the movie. You cannot say the same thing for Disneyland. So that's why I feel like Disneyland is the kind of entertainment that is more likely to survive this kind of thing. But there's a very real chance that even if theaters open, that going to the movies might be a dying art. They might become an extinct experience. Okay, let me see some comments here. Who doesn't miss a movie theater, hot popcorn, and cold air conditioning? I do miss it. Don't get me wrong, I do. But I'm not in a hurry because I can still watch these movies at home. Wait, I got to remember how to pronounce her name. Kiki Hasselblad says movies indoors, Disneyland outdoors. Yeah, very valid point. If you avoid rides like can you go to Disneyland, but don't go on the Haunted Mansion or Pirates of the Caribbean? Oh, that's such torture. That's such torture, Kiki. I might do it just once. You know what I mean? Like carry a rabbit's foot. Just like, okay, come on, get me out of here. And then you come out and you're like, did I make it? By the way, are there any scientists out there? I mean, somebody with a reasonably decent understanding of microbiology, a long viewed understanding of viruses and things like that and testing. I'm just curious. Okay, Dredge says he has a degree in this. Okay, ask him anything. Is it possible to, you know how you can check your diabetic levels on the fly? They even got a thing. My mom wears a thing now. It's just constantly, she just wears it and it's always testing, I think, if I understand correctly. Is there a future where you can just instantly test yourself and know if you have it? Like, I know they can do tests in a couple hours. There's like some, I don't know how accurate the test is, but they can get you a result in a couple hours. But that's with somebody administering the test and doing all this stuff. Is it possible? Is it possible? I'm not saying, obviously we're not there now, but is it possible? Is it within the realm of conceivability? Future. And I'm not talking about a home kit either, because a home kit, the antibody test. Evan Layton says, is that the antibody test? I think so. I think it's the antibody test that you can do in a couple hours. Now, that doesn't tell you if you have it. It just tells you if you have the antibodies. But if you have the antibodies, that usually means you've had it. Okay, Dredge says that this is the future, but it requires pathologists to view the virus on a slide to identify. Oh. So it could be, so they can't just measure levels of something. They have to see it? Is that what you're saying? The whole of vaccines, this nature. Guys, I tell you what, the history books in 15, 20 years, God, can you imagine what the history books are going to say about this? How I hope I live to see the day where they get to analyze this era that we're living through. Kiki says that her pharmacy in Sweden sells antibody tests now. Okay, so how long does it take you to take that test? what, between, and how difficult is it to administer that test? What I'm getting at is I want to be able to just go boop, like that, grab some blood out of my arm, shake it, put it through a reader, whatever I got to do, and say, okay, I can go ride, or get. I know it takes like a couple days or whatever for the incubation, but I don't know. I just feel like that should be a thing. I want to know right now if I have it. Vivian Johnson asks, how long is the NBA test for results? I would imagine that they're less than 24 hours. I have not watched as much NBA as I thought I was going to. I don't know. How do we get on this? Okay. So what else we got? That's it, actually. I guess we'll open it up. I thought I had more. I thought I had more news stuff, but I guess that's it. Reading comments. Oh, here we go. Dredge says, for the virus itself, yes. However, there is a way they are looking at tags that can properly identify the antigen itself, but that still isn't 100%. In order to 100% identify a virus need path. I'm not sure what that means. Gordon, you've already had it? Wow. Like how normal it's become. We freaked out when an NBA player, the first NBA player got it, shut down the whole season because the one guy got it. And now people are just people are getting it and moving on, I guess. Interesting. What a world we live in, man. What a world we live in. Phoenix Suns went 8-0 in the bubble. Phoenix? But they're not even good. Why are they trying harder? Google says that, oh, this is Kiki. Our antibody test takes 15 minutes. That's what I want. I want to see tests. I just want to be able to just get tested constantly. Just walking around getting tested, just like we test our blood for diabetes. Corey Dawn says she had it in May. Okay, so we're just going to open this up. Like I said, I'm just going to answer questions. Mickey Mouse Churro, David, what's your prediction on a Disneyland opening? Well, I had originally said middle of September. After I had actually predicted July 17th, but now I'm predicting middle of September. So I'm still sticking to that for now. 8-0. I mean, Devin Booker's good, but he's not. I mean, that's hard to believe. 8-0. Maybe they're just not trying. Are the other teams not trying? I know the Lakers stopped caring because they automatically got the number 1 seed. Devin Rice, I had it right at the beginning. Side note, have they given any further updates to extending annual passes that hadn't expired by the shutdown? It's been the same since the beginning. The default is that they're going to let it expire and then refund you any amounts that you paid after the park shut down. You have to call them and tell them that you want to extend it. If you want to extend it for however long the parks have been closed. But by default, they will cancel you when they will cancel your pass if the pass expires. That is interesting. Somebody's just said, wait, where'd it go? Justin Wyatt says, if Disneyland moved the corn dog cart and the pretzel cart to the Esplanade, they would make a ton of money. Yeah, they would. Are you kidding? They would make so much money just selling corn dogs out in the Esplanade. Yeah. So okay. So when does the postseason start? Is it today? Kiki says, my husband had it and it was bad, but he's okay now. We were separated for 6 weeks. Kiki, did he ever feel like he wasn't gonna? I mean, I don't want to be intrusive, but I just wonder, like, does it feel? How does it? I mean, it's bad, but do you feel like, okay, but I'm gonna get through this? Because I've had moments when I've had the flu or whatever, and it was really bad, and I thought, okay, this is it. You know what I mean? I just want to know if you feel that way, if you feel like it's gonna happen. Soundman 626 says, do you agree that when this is all said and done, that Disney will become and make itself pandemic proof? Well, I don't know if that's possible, because viruses are unpredictable and they're adaptable. So I don't think you could ever say that. But I think that as a humanity, we are going to be more likely to try to protect ourselves just in general as a humanity, except for people in California or in the United States, because apparently we don't care. We just want to eat cheeseburgers and get our hair cut and do whatever the hell we want, and never mind any other stuff. And I want to go to Disneyland, which is weird because everybody else, all their stuff is open as well. Parks in other countries. Okay. Why are we talking about sports? I'm here for Disney. Well, because Disney's hosting NBA right now. That's why. That's all. Okay, let's see. Are we closer to an Apple bailout? No, we're further away from an Apple bailout, if anything. Yeah, I can talk for sports for 2 seconds. Come on, man. I'm a sports fan. What are you going to do? What do you want me to do? Just deny all that? Soundman626 says, thank you, David. Yesterday you mentioned bowling alleys. What do you think future and bowling? No future in bowling. I think no future in bowling. No. Anything that requires community, like everybody touching the same thing, is ripe for extinction. Buffets are going to be old news. I don't know when it's going to be okay to do a buffet again. But bowling alleys, with all that community touching, I just don't see that. And not because it's unsafe, or not as much as because it's unsafe. Because I agree that you can do things to make it safe, but people are just going to be too skeeved. They're just going to like, you know what, I'd rather just do something else, Look at what's happening with golf. Golf is blowing up right now. Golf is it's the biggest boon that it's had in decades, golf. Why? Because it's something to do, and it's automatically socially distant. Like, but it's part of its DNA is, I'm here and you're way the hell over there. And that's how it's played. It's played socially distant. So people are just like, yeah, screw it. That's what I want to do. I want to do things like that. So you're going to see more experiences like that, more experiences that doesn't require people getting all together to do a thing. And that's bowling alleys, man. Bowling alleys, go to a bowling alley, I promise you, with the shoes and the bowling balls and and everything. It does feel shared. Like Grace said, there's bowling alley cheese, I can't think of it. There's got to be other examples of this. Biking, people, yeah, going for a bike ride through the woods or through a path. That's probably a very popular thing. I've seen more people on bikes in my town than I ever did before. That's for sure. Hangar 24 in Irvine. I don't know that one. Ed asks, what are green fees versus lane rentals? Well, golf is expensive. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. The Muni that I play out here is $45 for one person. And it goes up from there. That's pretty cheap, $45. There's another course. It's a semi-private course down the way from me that's $140 a round. So it's not cheap, but it's amazing. It's great. I love it. Melissa Isom, so cancel everything in our world that requires contact with multiple people. Melissa, I'm not one making the rules, okay? This isn't my idea. This is just me observing, okay? I'm not saying we should do this. I'm not saying we should. I'm saying this is what people are doing. I'm observing. I'm observing that fewer people are going to Disneyland because they're choosing not to. I'm observing that fewer people are going to go to buffets because they're afraid to. They're afraid to go to bowling alleys. That's why they're not even opening. They're not even bothering to open right now because people are afraid. I don't make the rules. This isn't my decision. I'm not saying you should do these things. I'm just observing. Let's see. Pebble Beach, is that really right, Paul? Pebble Beach is up to $2,000 a round? Good gravy. Yeah, video games, guys. Video games. They're like, people who make video games are just like, yeah, I love COVID. It's going to be a while, you guys. It's going to be a while before any of this changes. And it could change permanently because of evolution. This could just be how we evolve. I've never played disc golf because I can't throw a Frisbee. Yeah, Kevin Fry says, COVID was the best thing that happened to Nintendo and the developers of Animal Crossing. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? And for digital downloads in general. Are you looking forward to the Lego Star Wars movie? Oh, the holiday special? I guess. Yeah, I like those. They're fun. Well, yeah, arcades have been dead for a long time, though, Clay. Adam Reed says, do you think Disney Plus is doing a good enough job of capitalizing on everyone staying in? Well, I'm not sure. There's only so much they can do. They're not just sitting on a bunch of content that they can just drop. If anything, they need to hold back to create more demand. If I would think, to create more demand for people to subscribe that maybe weren't going to otherwise. But I don't think that they're doing. I think Disney Plus is doing fine. Born Adventure says, I never got to use my meal tickets for food and wine. I was saying here, I still have some. I was in the middle of using them, and man, what a jip. Yeah, Salmon626 says, ain't that the truth? You see that this pandemic changed Walt's vision in the type of park he imagined, and the direction of Disney will be to have more roller coasters in the next 15, 20 years. Yeah. This is going to have an effect on how Disneyland is built in the future. Disney, assuming it survives, obviously, but Disneyland in 20 years is not going to look the way it does today, even more so than it would have normally have changed through the normal course of evolution of the park. But it's going to be changing in ways that I don't know what that is yet. I don't know what it's going to look like, but it's a thing. It's a thing. I don't. Danny D says Royal Dorks video challenge. David learns to throw a frisbee. That's going to be the most boring, dumb video ever. Kiki says disc golf is how we met 35 years ago. 2 teenagers at the World Disc Golf Championships. Frisbee's pretty big in Sweden, though, right? I mean, and in Europe, more so in Europe anyway than it is in the United States. That's for sure. Here in the States, it's strictly a hippie thing, even if it's that even. I don't know. You don't see a lot of run-of-the-mill folk throwing around a frisbee. Megan Chow says, man, if I wanted roller coasters, I'd go to Knott's or Magic Mountain. Yeah, but what if they can't make dark rides anymore, is the point we're making. What if the idea of dark rides is not possible anymore because of COVID? What if? Just a thought, that's all. Again, we're not making the rules. We're not setting precedent. We're not selling them how it is. It's just observations. You know what? I don't go to the beach a lot, so maybe I have it wrong. But I don't see a lot. When the times that I've been to the beach, I haven't seen a lot of frisbee throwing. Football and those paddle things, I see some of that. Caddyshack all day. What have I been watching on Disney Plus? Well, Star Wars. And then any of the, I like to watch the old vintage stuff. And then what do you call it? The like the making of type videos or movies. Will Knott's do Scary Farm food booth events like Calico? I don't know. But I mean, I think that would be cool if they could decorate the park, spooky it up, and then have people come and do the same thing. I would pay $25 or $30 for that for sure. Yeah, Sarah Jackson says, Mara, viruses don't end. Yeah, you can have people sometimes confuse the idea of a vaccine as a cure. A vaccine is not a cure. If anything, it's the opposite. Here's a question from Ryan Kalaunen. Which proposed Disney theme park or proposed land that didn't become reality do you wish had? Probably Westcott, I think. I would have liked to. I would have rather had Westcott than DCA. I'll say that. Well, yeah, Mara, I don't think we can count on that either. Mara says, I mean, we will have a vaccine and herd immunity and the crisis will end. I don't know if we can't count on that, right? That's not a strategy, right? That's not a plan. That's just hope. I think. I don't know. It doesn't feel like that to me. Like hoping that we get herd immunity doesn't seem like a strategy. Like is that really the best plan we can have? Yeah, there's still no cure for the flu, right? But it doesn't kill you either. Well, sometimes it does, but not to the effect that the coronavirus does. Evan Layton, there is no such thing as herd immunity for coronaviruses. Hey, by the way, did I read it correctly? That's what happened in New York. That's why they got flattened out so abruptly. Because that seemed like they were having a high and then just dropped. Certainly, they're not still on lockdown, right? Somebody explain New York to me. I think I asked that question once before. Ron Britvich says a strategy is test on entry. I think that's what I was talking about before, is having just sort of this, disposable test that you could just like bing, 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 get a result. You just set somebody over on the side 5 minutes later, whatever, and they can go. I feel like that's doable. That way, once you get through, like, that the person who's in there doesn't have it, and you can feel safe to do whatever. You're completely free to do whatever. You just say, hey, if you got it, go home and sleep it off. Right? I mean, we've got to get to that point. We've got to get to that point. And they could even roll that into the cost of admission, because I don't know how much these tests cost. The disposable test like that might cost Disney. But I feel like that's a reasonable. Wait, what? So New York is following. They don't have herd immunity. What is somebody said? New York does not have herd immunity. They have natural immunity. I don't know what that means. What's the difference? How accurate are those tests, though, Pooh and Stitch? A 1-minute test for $1. And now, come on, I don't understand. $100 or $1? Which is it, you guys? So I'm saying nobody tells the truth. Why? Who knows the truth, man? Ryan Calinan says, do you think Disney will invest a large sum of money into Fantasyland Theater now that outdoor entertainment is preferred? Maybe. I mean, it's possible. Nobody knows anything. Lucas, that's truth. People are just talking. Kiki says the test in LA County cost $100. That includes the lab work. Right, to you and me, maybe. I might pay $100, but how much does it cost Disney to have? And this could be a futuristic test, but somebody's saying that there are spit tests for $1. How much does it cost Disney to buy 80,000 of those tests? And again, I think it depends on lots of. Yeah, there's a lot of really backseat scientists out there. I guess it depends on what kind of test you're doing. Like, is it an antibody test or antigen test? Is it, who knows? I don't know. Why is it that every time we do these live streams, somebody's got to lose the game for me? Thanks, Ed. I never lose the game on my own. Somebody has to lose it for me. I'll say that. $200 for the nasal probe swab thing. That is ridiculous. Tests should be free. Honestly, tests should be free. Oh, God. All right, guys. Well, it is 5 o'clock. I've had fun today, even though this was kind of a pointless or a directionless conversation. We'll have something more. We'll do another discussion topic. Like Monday and Wednesday on Monday. Backseat scientist, right? That's what it is, man. Everybody's acting like they know the answer, but who does? Who honestly does? We get lied to so much today that there's no way to know the answer than the truth, for sure. There's no way. We don't. How could you possibly? Unless you're actually, doing it. You're one of them. I have no idea. Anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out. We'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Before you go, like this video. Hit the like button on your way out. Leave a comment talking about whatever, answer any one of the questions that were discussed in this video. Leave a comment to tell me that you hate my fat face. And then also subscribe to our channel, our main channel on Fresh Baked. If you want to see like trip reports and things like that, or moody stuff, I tend to like to do like a little I love Disneyland kind of videos on Fresh Baked. And then we have our personal channel, Royal Dorks. Links are on the main channel page. Click the little Fresh Baked Presents button at the top, take you to the home page, and subscribe to those channels. And then watch them. Watch every video, all of it. Watch every single video, all of it. If you did, I will give you a big round air hug because I love you. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Fresh Baked.